Woo, woo. All right, Duffers, welcome back to Duffers Review 19th Hole, where we talk golf. We are live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook today. And I had some pretty interesting week so far. It's been an interesting week. Greg over at the Pinehurst 6, we joined me last week that we talk about Tigers, welcome back to the fold. But as we learned last week live, Tiger had pulled out of the tournament due to a stomach flu, an influenza. I still think Tiger is kind of, he's back, but we'll get into that in just a second. So just as everyone knows, this is Duffers Review, the 19th hole. Every Friday, we come here live to talk the latest and greatest things in golf, all golf-related things, and let Duffers let loose on some of the crazy antics of what they feel is going on and what can be better for the game of golf. As it being the 19th hole, okay, have your drink. So shout out to Power Ranch. Check out that review. Cheers. That's good. All right, so it's a 19th hole. So we're here to talk, golf. And we were just kind of alluding to that. Tiger Woods is back? Question mark. There was a lot of controversy. I have a lot of conversations. There was a lot of different conversations this week, being out of the golf course and talking to some golfers and Duffers all alike. And there was a comment Greg made last week. As I made a comment that we're going to kind of talk about. I'm going to go into the theory, let alone not necessarily the facts of, the theory of, or observations of. I think Tiger Woods is back. I think Tiger Woods is going to be back for quite some time because he has an opportunity right now, which I think ties into the whole conversation I'm about to talk about today. I think he's back. He got sick. Okay, great. He got sick. I hope he, from a fan stake maybe, or maybe even for himself, decides to get out a little bit earlier than one time a month, and can continue to dust off the rust or anything that's going on there. The question that was brought up last week, which I think has, for me, been an observation thing, just kind of something I've been watching and kind of going, I'm not sold. I'm not sold, and this is why. And I'm putting it for you right now. And I think a lot of people, I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this, but let's do it. Is the PGA nerfing courses for views? I say yes. That is my opinion, and here's why, and we're going to talk about it. Right? Is the PGA nerfing courses for views? Greg made an awesome statement last week as we talked about Tiger Woods coming back at the Genesis Thursday. Record views for the Genesis tournament, especially after a whirlwind, horrific showing of the Waste Management. Right? Friday kicks everything off. We're going into the podcast. I hear Tiger bails out. Greg makes a statement. He says, hey, you're making stuff and you're making this stuff, but you're not looking up the facts. Well, I have no real facts, and I'll make that as a definitive statement. I have no real facts that they're actually nerfing the courses. No facts. I'm on the hunt for it. I'm trying to see it, but the observations are kind of leading in that direction. It's kind of one of those, walks like a duck, talks like a duck, swims like a duck. It's probably a duck, right? And here's the reason why. Greg had made a statement as we were talking about Tiger Woods, and we were talking about the fanfare. We were talking about, hey, what it's like for having to be back. Is he going to move his new clothing line? And he made a great quote. He goes, Tiger Woods doesn't move the needle. He is the needle. After Tiger dropped out of made the announcement, there was a huge internet whirlwind a lot of traction, everyone going to look to see what happened, but the viewership cut in half immediately. Greg, you couldn't have made it any bigger statement. All right. So I come back to mine and go, is the PGA nerfing courses for views? I think 100%. All right. And we've talked about this PGA versus live, is it going one direction? What is it? You got, look, bottom line, some of the top, players in the world went to go play over and live, get paid to play. Got it. That's not the argument at hand. It's the skill set. It opened up the bottom half of the PGA Tour, the other tours, the Corn Ferry, DP. All these are the players that are fighting for the rights to. I want to make it to the big stage. Now all of a sudden they're on the big stage, and the big stage with people that never had namesake, all of a sudden are shooting 20 under. Top 15 players, or on the board are 20 under. Yeah, the bottom of the pool was that exceptional that all of a sudden, boom, scores and outlying scores have been better before even the other half of the ultimate players in the world were there. I mean, come on, Greg. I mean, dude, you called out 17 under. Great. You looked at last year's average scores and everything, something like this, and it was Riviera. I mean, there's only so much you could do if you were to say you were going to nerf Riviera. And I get it. Some courses are by nature. Bethpage Black, right? U.S. Open. And you made that statement very clear. That's awesome. The U.S. Open conditions, no matter what course they're at, are always set up in absolutely insane conditions. 1-inch first cuts, 3-4 inch, third cuts, like those where you're standing and you don't even see the player's shoes, right? Yes, that is an extreme level of condition of play. Are every course set up like that for every PGA tournament? No one would ever watch. I get it. But in conversations all week, because this subject became such a kind of like is it not happening? Do you believe it? Everyone I was talking to today, even to a gentleman today, he goes, I don't watch PGA anymore. I don't even know who half the people are. He goes, there's no fun in that. And he goes, I watched when Tiger was out, and he goes, well, he got sick. I turned it off. That's literally unbeknownst of this real subject. And so I look at this and go, what are you doing? What are you doing to compete? Well, here's the other thing is everyone's like, oh, well, nobody's watching live. Nobody's watching live because the PGA's got every channel locked in to not play live on a Sports Center or ESPN or getting them in nothing else. They're playing on Google. They're playing on the web. All right, it is what it is. They're still playing. They're still putting up highlights every once in a while. Sports Center might catch a really, really good shot and throw them up there because it is still some of the most profound professional golfers playing golf. But they're not moving the needle. They're not. Live is not even given the chance for the needle to be shown. All right, let's just be fair and call that spade a spade. But all of a sudden, courses that when Greg said, hey, look up the facts. All right, Greg, I looked up the facts. I looked at, what you did pretty much for the review. You went out, you said, hey, here's what was trending from last year. 17 was kind of when there. You called out 17. Great call. You got it. 17 under. And here's the swings. I am all for a good tournament. 1-2 players are on fire. They're really battling it out. Let's do it. But all of a sudden, you're playing at a course where 20 players are 20 under and they're fighting it out, and you're going to try to tell me that's not nerf conditions? Come on. I'm not trying to take any fanfare away from Dunlap, but 29 under as an amateur with the rest of the field in sub 20s. That's PGA. That's Tiger Woods golf on Xbox, right? There was no real challenge to that whatsoever. All right, the one kid with zero fear and fanfare, just out there firing at will. That's the same thing when Spieth won it. The year that he went on fire, he was playing in a sense of wild abandon. I haven't been here before. Holy crap! His skills came out. He was throwing stuff that other people weren't taking the risk of, and was pulling it off. He was finishing. Then you fast forward and you look at it and you hear it. Well, I to maintain that, I tried to change my swing. I look at new clubs. Then the pressure of being a professional PGA Tour player came at hand. I think it's nerfed. Now, Greg, back to your comment that I love. Tiger Woods is the needle, right? The question came out, said, well, who's next? Who can do it? There's a ton of, unrecognized names trying to fight their way up the board. They're trying to give themselves a namesake. I think Tiger is back and he's going to stay back while we're in this transition of not all the best players in the world are playing on the same field. All right. So unfortunately, due to injuries, time, and everything like that, if it was the whole field like it was before, I'd have to vote. It would be voting and betting with just pure confidence of feeling like I'm still throwing this money away. There's just way too much talent by what Tiger has driven in the game out there. But now half of it's gone. So I think he honestly has a chance because you've got a lot of people that don't know what that work ethic is. They're trying to put their names on the board. And especially if they keep on nerfing these courses, Tiger's bound to go out there and fire off on something and just and make a mockery of the situation. He's going to put his win in the column, and I'll be the first one to say, "Great, it was awesome to see him win." If it's not a Masters, if it's not a U.S. Open, now let's put an asterisk next to it because going out and shooting 29 under is a little ludicrous, right? I think it's absolutely insanity that we're seeing out here and calling it. No, it was a tough course. No, it wasn't. 29 under is not a tough course, right? Now, and I'm saying that when the top 15 players are all shooting that low. Greg, to your point, and I'm agreeing with you, there are players that have great days. There are players that play certain courses, and that's just their eyes, their field. Hell, Tiger even tells you he doesn't play every course that every other PGA player plays, right? He plays the courses that he's known and won the most at. Hell, Riviera is one that he constantly hosts and he's trying to play at because he's never won there. So yeah, I think this last week's tournament was an absolute good showing of, hey, let's see who's showing up to play, and it was 17 under. Okay, so be it. Also, after one of the wettest stretches in California history as well. I think it was Mother Nature nerfed a lot of those greens that were being fired at. Very soft, right? They weren't as normal. They weren't the normal Riviera fast and sliding, half-inch sliding putts out there. So I think it was a natural Mother Nature nerf is what I'll call on that one. But again, spot on, 17 under. You called it. Way to go. But to the overlying issue here, it came up with a secondary question. Who's next? Love to put it out in the comments, throw it out there. Who do you think is next? Who do you think is the next runaway? Do you actually think it's Scotty Scheffler? Do you think he has the stones to go the next multiple years? There was a stat put out that said that Scotty Scheffler, being the number one world golfer, would have to be in that position until 2035 to surpass Tiger Woods being the number one person in the world. Now, that was also before they changed the ranking systems and all the variables, at play. I don't think anyone will take that record down because that record doesn't stand against the way they do the ratings and stuff now. But that just goes to show you how dominant a player Tiger is to the game. He launched his new brand, Sunday Red, right? Immediate fanfare all the way across the board. But you heard both me and Greg say it. I don't like the logo. I don't like the 3 letters the way it was, put on there. I know it's got meaning. He talked about it as, this is a 3rd chapter, and components. Great. Businessman. He's going to rock and roll with it. Will I end up with probably some of it? Of course. I'm a Tiger fan, right? I can't not say that I'm not a Tiger fan. So with that, I'll probably end up owning it and stuff as well. But there was a very interesting question. Say, who's next? Who has a chance to run down the legacy of a Tiger Woods? Who has the next, I'm going to hold the needle. I'm going to watch it all the way through. They haven't announced what they're going to do with live players as far as the majors and stuff this year. But as it was written, if you've won a major, you're automatically invited back. You win a Masters, you can forever play the Masters. So I think no matter what, you're going to see live players play in a structure of PGA major events um, because they were previous winners. I don't think that's going to write the next chapter. So this gentleman today says, "Hey, do you think Charlie is the next chapter? Is the story right?" I think everybody watching Tiger, everybody loves the story. They know the story. He's chasing history, right? 80, he's going for 83. He's one more major to get past, Nicholas. Like there's a story. There's an investment in success and or failure. Right? There's a ton of Tiger haters that are like, "Rah." It was, of course he wasn't ready to come back. He backed out, stomach flu, whatever. I I still agree 110%. It was in and out. I think it was the most horrid, thing they could have ever had at a tournament. But it was California, and it took Tiger out. So I'm sticking to that conspiracy theory because I think that's what it was. Um, so be it. But is Charlie the next story? I think, and what you're seeing happening throughout the tournaments, the show up, the fanfare, like every time it's mentioned, I think they're creating the story. I think they're writing it, and I think and I believe he was in a tournament or something this week. I'm trying not me personally to follow Charlie too soon, but I do think he's the next story. Um, and when he actually is going to compete for money, when he actually gets to that stage in his career, I think it'll be very interesting to see. I think right now, Tiger making the statements of, "I'm not his coach, he's got a coach." But again, he's coming from Camp Woods. I think he has the DNA and skill set there. He also has the outliers, footprint and or blueprint to be extremely successful. I mean, he's Tiger Woods' kid, right? I mean, he's coming from the camp of Woods. So I think that brings up a very, very interesting, where does the story take us? Where does it go next? Right? I think we are going to see a moment in time where we're going to put that onto Charlie's head. They're going to put him on the podium and go, "Are you going after your dad's record?" And like any young kid who wants to beat their dad in sports or something like this, he's going to come out, he's going to say it, he's going to be arrogant enough to say he could do it. But I think it's pressure I don't think he's ready for it. I mean, we saw it in the camp of Jordan, right? Michael Jordan has sons, attempted, went to it, and his son said it in an open interview. At one point in time, he was saying why he wasn't coming back. He goes, "The shadow's too big." Everyone expected him to be the next Michael Jordan. There's never going to be a next Michael Jordan. We can't put that shadow onto the ear of your kids, right? I think he has to have his own path. So I think Tiger's doing a very, very good job in that respect. He let Charlie go out and sign his own deal. He signed with Grayson. He's making an approach at his tournaments as he chooses his fit. Tiger's on his bag. He gives advice when asked. He goes, but he is not his coach. He is not pushing him like Earl Woods did Tiger, as he states. Now, I mean, backyard shenanigans. I mean, he's got a mini, replica golf course, in their backyard down there in Jupiter, Florida. I mean, what better kid, has the opportunity to be, to go after something like that? When you have beyond capabilities, resources at your fingertips. So yeah, I think it's a story we're going to watch. I think it's a story that the world needs in order for the PGA to keep on going. I don't think, and unless it just happens to be the next chapter. We saw it with Federer. We saw it when Sampras left. Federer came next. There's definitely going to be somebody. I just don't think there's anybody in the PGA Tour right now that can fill those shoes. It's still such a shotgun of players that are just making their names. So much so that I sat there through half of the tournament watching, and because the names were so scarce of who was who, they were putting up their college. because the college they played for had better namesake than the players that were on the tournament playing. And I kept on sitting there wondering, going, why would anyone care what college or whatever they came from? And then it started to click as the more I sat there and watched this, the more they put it up there. You were looking at this and you were rooting for players based on the colleges you knew because they had better name recognition than the players themselves. But, back to the original point, Greg doesn't think, it's being nerfed. He thinks I'm not watching enough golf. I don't know how the tournaments work. I do know if, we put the Duffers up against Pinehurst 6, I'm taking that belt home, one way or the other, because that's just how we do that. But even with that being said, I think the stories yet to be written. I think there's stories yet to be written here, as you're going to see coming up next month. Pick'em Pros versus Duffers Review. Then we're going to turn right around and start hammering for Greg and the Pinehurst 6. Then we're going after Barstool Sports. We're here to stay. We're here to put this stake our claim in the sand. We're Duffers. We talk shit. We're Duffers. This is what we do. This is the things that we come out and talk about. So the next chapter. Does Charlie have it? I hope they don't put it on his shoulders too soon. I hope that he has a chance to develop and be a player. Unfortunately, I think because there is no story there right now, being built other than Tiger got sick. It's a wait and see, right? Is he going to break Tiger's records as he grows up? I'm sure he'll break a few. He started, a little bit younger, or got into the fanfare sooner, but that's because of the path that Tiger knocked down. The path is a little bit wider. It's a little bit more paved. He's accepted, a little bit easier because of who his father is, right? Which fair enough. It's generation after generation. We shall see, right? We've watched it through multiple different avenues in all sports. I just hope that he gets a chance to develop his skill set and develop his game and to continue to play for the love of the game. The interview that Tiger was talking about that, what's the biggest thing that you see difference? And he said that I'm not pressed. I like playing golf with my son. He wants to be able to maintain that relationship and hope that Charlie plays for the sake of the love of the game. I think everyone that you saw that they immediately started putting that shadow of Tiger Woods on, it changed immediately. Jordan Spieth, when he came out, he won his Masters that year. He's the next phenom. Look at how young he is. He's doing it. He's tearing up the course. Do you think you can run down Tiger? And where did Jordan? He's got swing flaws. He's overthinking everything, and it melted him. There's many of players that have been melted right to the ground for that very statement of, "Can you fill those shoes?" Who wants to try? Just get out there and go. Play it. Get there. Let's do it. Well, let's do it with the same fanfare and efforts that any other course was originally done to do so. Let's stop playing on these spongy courses. Let's stop playing at courses that haven't been cut and stemp meters cut down to PGA standards, right? Or what we've known as PGA standards. Stop blaming, equipment changes that haven't even been put into effect yet, right? We're rolling back the ball. We ain't rolling back the ball this year, and we're still scoring 20 something under. So, there's too many observations that they need viewership. And without viewership, what are you going to do? Because the PGA is paying a hell of a lot more now. They won that battle. The players went to the bat and said, "Hey, we are definitely paying a lot more." So the tournament's purses are larger, but there's still no names playing for it. So what do you got to do? You got to make it look like all these phenoms were hiding out in the bushes, and since half of the world's top best left to go play to get paid, they decided all of a sudden up their game. Guys that never made a cut in 10 different tournaments, all of a sudden are in the top 10, right? Yeah, that's a lot of training, right? Like just to be all of a sudden a PGA professional golfer at that stature, overnight. I don't believe it. I think there's a lot of course conditions that play into that variable and that factor. So, guys, Again, I put it out there. I'd love to hear your feedback. I hear your thoughts on this. Do you agree? Is the PGA nerfing courses for views? Are we getting views on courses because they're out there, making it easier to be played on? What's your feedback? What's your insight? Do you agree? Do you disagree? All right. Throw it in the chat. Let me know what's going down, in the game fair. With that, let's move over to my favorite crew, Pick'em Pros. You got your text message. You got your verification. Flights have been booked. Hotel has been secured. The Duffer Mobile has been rented. The tickets to your tournament have been paid for. No excuses. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 3 different courses, 3 different styles of play, and we're playing your tournament. And I'm bringing the belt back home. You can't hide, you can't run. You're there. It's your tournament. So now you got to show up. You got to put the hamburgers down. You got to come and play. Duffers Review is taking on Pick'em Pros out in March 29th at the TNT Creative charity golf event, which I'm very, very excited to say that I think this is our 4th rendition of going out and joining Derek and Diego out at this tournament. But this whole thing stemmed back to them totally gaffing us off last year and scared to play us on Saturday and did some chicken event that didn't even invite the Duffers to, that started this feud. So it's been a year in the making. We're coming for you. We're going to end this feud. You talked all that crap. You went and ate chicken. I hope you're eating, I would say, grilled chicken, but we both know that's not what's going down with you guys. It's Burger King chicken at best, or I'm sorry, Zaxby's chicken out there in North Carolina. But we're coming for you. It's all booked. It is on the calendar. No more excuses. And tell your boy over there in the Bears, you better show up too. I want some of him on Saturday as well. You better not be trying to fly back and get out of it as well. He wanted to talk his trash. The date is set. The event is there. You can stay an extra night and roll out with the Duffers in the morning with Pick'em Pros, hit the course, and we'll see who comes out on top. Ladies and gentlemen, again, this is Duffers Review, the 19th hole, where we come in every Friday at 4:30 PST, talk trash, throw out our comments and concerns about what we think is going on out there in the world of golf, and what is coming up next. With that being said, I've reached my half hour. I appreciate everyone who stops by, takes a side, doesn't take a side, at least even pops in just to see what it is I'm possibly saying. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's 30 minutes. I appreciate you joining me again. Let me know. Is the PGA nerfing courses? Greg, waiting for your rebuttal. Till next week, make sure you guys like, subscribe. Let me know what course you want to play. I'll come out there and play with you. We'll review it as normal. Check out this week's post getting ready to come up. It's Puerto Rico. Me and the brother, fight it out is coming out here as the next one up. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I am out. Have a wonderful Friday and keep on swinging.